Hey everyone, we are here at Plain Dealer headquarters right here on Superior Avenue. I'm here with Michael Heaton, columnist for the Plain Dealer. Michael, thank you so much for talking with us today. Hope we're not infringing too much on your busy schedule.
Not at all.
Now you're known here as the Minister of Culture. Is that correct?
That's correct.
How did that title come about? And is there a Bishop of Culture and Deacons of Culture as well?
Well, no, it's a political term, not a religious term.
I see.
And when I was at the San Francisco Examiner before I came here.
Okay.
And there was a guy on the radio there who reviewed karate movies and monster movies, and he called himself the Minister of Culture, and I thought that was pretty funny, so I stole the title from him.
Your article is in the Plain Dealer every Friday.
Every
correct?
Friday. That's
you take a social issue. You have a tendency to take a social issue and make a funny narrative out. Like your latest one talked about the Hollywood celebrities voicing their opinions on Iraq.
Right.
And even went into the West Wing versus, because somebody from the West
Law
Wing.
and Order.
Right.
Fred Thompson of Law and Order had a pro-war commercial. Martin Sheen had an anti-war commercial. That's actually true, and then I just took it from there and extrapolated.
What else makes something stick out that you say, that I'd like to write about that?
Well, just generally when I'm just trolling through Entertainment Weekly and People and the Drudge Report and anything else I can find, and I just look for something that I think you could make fun of, and there's just so much to make fun of. Celebrities are always great, and they're always doing stupid things, and there's always some way to tie some sort of entertainment thing into the news, because today entertainment and news have come so close together so often in so many ways that an entertainment column is often about the news.
Yeah. Now you kind of have writing in your blood because your father was a sports writer here.
That's correct.
At the Plain Dealer, now retired.
Right.
But so he was a sports writer. Did him being a sports writer here influence your decision to want to become a writer?
I always tell people that one of my earliest memories is being like 4 years old and being in my pajamas and walking into the kitchen at like 11 in the morning, and there's my dad sitting there in his boxer shorts with a 3-day growth of beard, and he's smoking a cigar, and he's drinking a can of beer, and he's listening to an Indians game on the radio, and he's banging away on his portable Olivetti typewriter.
Yeah.
And I remember, back then thinking, that looks like a good job.
I could sit around in my boxers and drink beer.
Yeah.
But it's kind of changed, though, since then. I mean, you're probably not sitting in your boxers drinking beer here at the Plain Dealer when you're writing.
No, but on Fridays when I'm home doing my column, I am. I work here Monday through Thursday, and I write my column at home on Friday. That way it gives me time to go out and see movies, read books, do whatever I need to do to catch up on entertainment.
And you can, write off seeing movies and stuff as research and things like that.
Yes, I can, and I do.
Now, Patricia Heaton, who plays Deborah on Everybody Loves Raymond, is your sister.
That's correct.
And you co-wrote this book with her, and it's divided into 3 sections, because you guys grew up here in Cleveland.
We did.
And so it starts off talking about Cleveland, and then New York, and then
we both
LA.
moved to New York when we got out of college.
Okay.
I went there first. I went to Kent State, and when I got out, moved to New York, and she went to Ohio State, and she came to New York as well. I was pursuing journalism. She was pursuing acting, and so we didn't live together in an apartment, but we were both in New York at the same time and spent a lot of time together.
And you both moved out there at the same time?
No, I went out to the San Francisco a few years ahead of her, and then she moved out to LA. So we were both on the same coast at the same time, and of course we grew up together, so it was really an easy thing to do. We would email the chapters back and forth.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. So she would write something, and then you would write the next chapter, or how
Well, what
does
we would
it work?
do is we would divide up topics. And we would say, like, let's do something about our growing up. Okay, I have 3 kids, she has 4 kids. So we write a lot about having families, what our family was like as opposed to what our families are like now with our own kids, and how different things were back in the day. Uh-huh. And so she'll say, let's do one about birthday parties for kids, how simple ours were, how crazy they are today. So maybe I would do a rough draft of that and send it to her, and then she would particularize it, and then she'd take another topic, say, something like maybe she would know more about, like the jobs that she had, the jobs that she had while she was waiting to make it. So she would actually know more of those details, and then she would ship that to me, and I might tweak it for jokes and funniness.
And it's interesting because you talk about in the 60s when you were growing up in Bay Village.
Yeah.
And kids would run and they would fall and they'd scrape their knees. And there was a lot less concern over, now there's all these safety issues. And if a
Right.
kid falls and skins his knee, you're suing the city. or
Right.
something like
You
that.
got to wear a helmet, when you leave the house.
Yeah.
Right.
Or there's a great story in there about, kids building their own tree houses.
Right.
They used to do that back in the day, as opposed to now their parents hiring IM Pay
Exactly.
to design the treehouse.
Right.
for
I always talk about one of the great games was they were building houses in the neighborhood. So the big machine would come in and dig the basement, and then they'd leave for a week. So that weekend, the game was you would stand on either sides of this big, empty, gaping hole in the ground and throw rocks at each other. That was the game.
Why do you think that's changed so much? I mean, for your kids, because you have three daughters.
Yes. Yes.
For your kids, I mean, things are a lot different than it was back then. There's a lot more. It seems, I don't know. Is it concern over their safety?
I don't know. George Carlin said that we've sort of made a fetish out of parenting.
Yeah.
That that's sort of typical of our generation. Everything that we do, we think we invented.
Yeah.
Like we invented drugs, we invented music, we invented parenting too, as we get older. And but it is funny that the safety thing is really way out of control. And I think, like you said, people sue people so much, and I think that's part of the problem.
All right. Well, the book is called Motherhood and Hollywood, and this is the latest book that you have out there. That's available.
It is.
That's available right now.
Yes.
And also, you can check out Michael's column every Friday in the Plain Dealer. Michael Heaton, Minister of Culture. Thanks so much for talking to us.
Hey, thanks a lot.
Burn that box.